Beldorney is a grassland-dominated estate in Aberdeenshire, the eastern edge of which is bordered by the River Deveron, which you can see here. This river rises in the hills above the Cabrach to the northeast of the Cairngorms, and it's well known for its Atlantic salmon and trout, and it's also home to abundant freshwater invertebrates. This stretch of the river further to the east is bordered by lovely ancient broadleafed woodland, which is so important to shade the water and keep the temperatures cool, and we hope to see more woodland like this expanding further across the estate. There are a number of non-native conifer plantations across the estate, one of which has already been felled, and you can see that towards the right of the picture here. It has now been replanted with native broadleaf trees, and the plan is to gradually transition the other stands of conifers to native trees as well. The one area of native woodland, which is known as Cairnhead Wood, is coming into view now at the bottom of the picture, and it's on the ancient woodland inventory. It is currently quite overbrowsed with a lack of natural regeneration, so increased deer management is helping to remedy this and boost the growth of young trees in this area, which will help increase the condition and diversity of the site. And towards the top of the picture, next to the river, is an area of grassland which has now been planted with more native broadleaf trees, and this is to expand the riparian woodland habitat further up the glen. And you can also see an area of heathland at the top of the wooded hillside, which is another important habitat hosting different suites of invertebrates that are dependent on such vegetation. Beldorney Castle is coming into view now, which is a fantastic historic building, the oldest parts of which were built in the mid-16th century by the Gordon family. And you can actually see house martins flying around, many of which have made their homes in the eaves of the roof here. Human history at Beldorney goes back much further than the castle though, and this footage shows Craiggorney Hill Fort, which has evidence of habitation stretching right back to about 500 AD when there were Pictish kingdoms in the area, and there is some fascinating archaeology here. The extensive grasslands are currently grazed by a relatively small herd of cattle, owned and managed by Grampian graziers who live locally to the estate. They follow practices of regenerative agriculture, and the cattle are frequently moved on using mobile electric fences, and the aim is to restore species richness and healthy soils of these grasslands so much more diversity will be seen in the future. Mains of Beldorney is the farmhouse and barns that lie in the centre of the estate, and there is much potential here to restore the building and use them in ways to benefit the local community. There are also a number of ruined buildings and crofts across the estate, and this one here was known as Mid-Third in the 1800s and lies just above Chapel Burn, which borders the north of the estate. And this is the old croft below Craiggorney, and as the deer manager here says, you can almost hear the children laughing. It would be wonderful to restore some of these old buildings. This bird's eye view of the castle shows some of the grounds, and towards the right you can see the Chapel Burn coming down to meet the Deveron, and the grassland here between them will hopefully also become riparian woodland. This is Keeper's Cottage, one of the 4 estate cottages, and it's very cosy inside, and is actually surrounded by a large area of lawn which has great potential to become a productive orchard or a wildflower meadow. So there is already much being done to boost the biodiversity of Beldorney Estate, but there is still great potential to do a lot more.